Pune, one of India's fastest growing housing markets, much loved for its cosmopolitan nature, its good weather, and of course now for the jobs it's creating in IT research and development and even manufacturing. Now Pune clocked decent gains in home prices and sales in 2022, much in line with the rest of the country and the top 7 cities. What are the numbers predicting for 2023? How much will prices rise further? Joining me to answer the questions is Rohit Gera, Managing Director of Gera Developments, who come out regularly with the most in-depth report on Pune market. So I'm going to ask you, I'm looking at the price rise and saying, all right, so prices did go up by 10 to 11% on an average in 2022, but they're still only 8% up from 2015. So, Rohit, they went down and then now they've recovered, isn't it? It's still an inexpensive market, would you classify?
Absolutely, Manisha. I think the fact that last year's 10% in and of itself is a good number. But when you look at it from a previous peak, and that's 7 years ago, we're only 8% above the previous peak. I think that there's a lot of headroom for the market to go up. There's potential for the market to go up. Developers have been absorbing price rises on the cost side for a long time. Affordability looks really strong. So barring some of the other global risks and headwinds that we see, I think there is a potential for further rise in prices in this year as well.
Rohit, we're still talking about the fact that, EMIs have gone up 5 times in 1 year. Affordability has dipped by 3.5%. Your report mentions that. Do you still believe, because at least in NCR, I'm beginning to see that euphoria of buying already starting to taper off?
So you're absolutely right, Manisha. But if you look at 2015, our interest rates then are about what we are at now, right? And you look at over a 5 or 7 year period, and you should look at real estate over a longer term. If prices have only gone up 8%, salaries in the same period, even if you look at just inflation, that would be at about 50 or 60% gains just on the income levels of people over the same duration. So when you look at affordability, it's about the increase in salaries, it's about the increase in the cost, and it's about the change in the interest rate. So yes, I agree that interest rates have indeed moved up, and that does dent the affordability. But at the same time, when you look at, you have to correlate that with the increases in salaries. Now, we've seen that there has been a fair amount of pay hikes as far as the IT professionals who are the primary buyers of these homes. So in terms of salary increases, I think that's what negates, or that's what covers up the losses on account of interest rate rises.
Okay, so far you're saying that at least they're not out of control. People still should be able to find buying homes in Pune affordable. Your report mentions a very important point. It says new unified development control norms, which are actually going to allow a lot more development to come up. So will that not keep prices more modest as well, or price rises more modest?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. One of the factors that keeps prices in check and control is the quantum of supply, right? So certainly the Unified Development Control rules, which have been made applicable for the Pune Municipal Corporation and the Pimpri-Chinchwad Corporation areas, there is already a greater potential which we've seen there. The PMRDA region, which has the largest land area under its jurisdiction, once the UDCPR comes in there, I think certainly there is a much greater potential. But I think, developers are also being cautious in terms of their launches. The phases are becoming smaller. So it's not that people are just blindly going out and launching projects. So I do think that, and look, as density goes up, the buildings become larger, the buildings become taller, the cost of construction goes up. Therefore, the exposure and the risk of developers increases, and therefore they reduce the phases are therefore being planned accordingly. Mm-hmm. So yes, the potential certainly rises, but that doesn't necessarily mean that inventory will automatically rise because potential rises.
So give us a snapshot of 3 key highlights, and what sort of price increase do you think people should be ready for in 2023 in Pune from good developers?
Okay, look, so I think making predictions is not something, can the prices rise? Yes. If looking at purely real estate, I think there's another 5, 8, 10% price rises. But at the same time, we are seeing global headwinds. The biggest risk, as far as I'm concerned, isn't so much the interest rates, which I think are peaking, or there may be one more rise, and then the interest rates don't seem like they'll rise too much more. But I think the bigger risk is on job security. what we are seeing in terms of the news as far as layoffs in the US, if that doesn't trickle down into India in any meaningful way and sentiment continues to be positive, I think, 8-10% increase is imminently possible. But, but in case job security is at risk, then I think things slow down and things go in the opposite direction. Sales will slow down. You have an oversupply kind of risk. So I think that's where the big joker in the pack is really that.
Really, how the global economy will pan out and IT sector will hold up or not. Rohit Gera, thank you very much. Thank you. We'll have to wrap out there. Now, we're keeping our fingers crossed that India will be an outlier and we will do much better, even, when global headwinds or if globally there is a recession, I think we will survive and do better. On that note, I'm going to wrap out of this discussion. Thanks a lot for joining me and to all of you for watching this show. Goodbye.